Hi everyone, I'm Shrey Satpathy, Product Manager on the Platform team here at C3, and I'm excited to introduce you to C3 Code, our latest offering that combines the power of the C3 AI Platform hardened over the last 15 years with the power of frontier coding agents that allows users to now build applications by just declaring intent. Today, what we're going to do is build a supply network risk application. We'll go ahead and load external data into this application, build custom dashboards, and even deploy a generative AI agent. So let's get started. I will start here in C3 Code from a template of the supply network risk application. That template contains our domain-specific object models, hardened, tried and tested at the largest enterprises in the world. So let's get started. I'll create an application with the supply network risk template, and here we go. Here, as the application UI loads, we can see that it ships with an example UI that showcases the different data elements available to us, all with seed data for now. We can see there are a number of locations, routes, shipments, and risk model about this application. I can go to the Configure tab and switch to the tooling available from the C3 AI platform that allows me to introspect the backend logic of this particular application. Here I see the entire supply chain ontology that tracks objects such as supplier, shipments, product. Again, all of the basic building blocks for me to model any supply chain use case. When I switch to the Code tab, I see the entire code of that template available to me, ready for my agents to extend. So now we have the ontology, we have the data integration pipelines that the application ships with, but now I want to integrate real data from an AWS S3 location into my application. I go ahead and configure my AWS credentials by adding a simple data source from the Data Fusion Data Integration tab. And here, I'm adding in the connector information and pointing to the correct S3 bucket where this data resides. I can save and test this connection. Once that is done, I can just prompt the agent to actually build the transformation logic to get data from that particular S3 location shaped in the form of what my application expects. All of that ETL logic, all of those scripts I used to develop in the past, now I can have agents built for me right here. The agent is able to explore that data structure and is able to author the transformations needed to bring them into the canonical object model that further then loads them into my application. In a few minutes, we see that the agent is done, and it has authored the entire data integration pipeline all the way from that AWS S3 source into my application data model. Now we can go inspect some of these objects and look at the data that was loaded. Let's look at the supplier type. Here, we can preview the data and see what data has been actually loaded into these entities. There we go. We see that supplier data, 3M, BASF, Bayer, they're all loaded from that external source system into my application. Now, in supply chain use cases, it's also critically important to blend exogenous data sources, such as news events, such as weather alerts and such, to further enrich the decision-making of my supply chain analysts. So let's go ahead and bring in weather alerts from the National Weather Service. Let's go ahead and ask the agent to do that. There we go. With just that prompt, agent was able to go ahead and integrate with the National Weather Service API, model that REST connection in the C3 AI type system as a REST type, and is now able to interface with that external system. Now, what I'd like to do is overlay this weather alert information on my global supply chain in that 3D globe visualization. Let's ask the agent to do that. And just like that, the agent has come back with that visualization of weather alerts overlaid on our existing supply chain globe network. Looks like Chicago O'Hare currently has a weather alert and looks like it's going to cause significant disruption. Another common use case is building custom dashboards and analytics on top of the data that has already been loaded in my application. Here for this use case, I want to build an OTIF tracking dashboard, an on-time in full tracking. It's a critical set of analytics that I want my analysts to have available to them that helps them reason through what are the most critical disruptions in their supply chain. Let's go ahead and ask the agent to build that. There we go. The agent has gone ahead and now built this OTIF tracking dashboard. Let's see what it has built. We can see the high-level KPIs, the overall OTIF score, the on-time versus late by different priorities, the fulfillment rate, the shipment status and distribution, the average delay by milestone type. All of these with a single natural language prompt describing my intent. This is the power of these agents. So now that we have loaded in data, we have built custom analytics on top, I'd also like to have a generative AI agent be able to explore this ontology and give a decision support system to my analysts that can just ask and interrogate the application in natural language. So let me ask this assistant to do that. Build me a Gen AI chat panel that lets me interact with the data and the application. And I should be able to ask questions about the data and the application, such as, what are the highest risks? All right, now the agent is off. And there we go. The agent has built a side panel assistant into my application, which is a supply chain assistant, added the dependency to C3 Generative AI that brings all that capabilities within this application. Now let's ask this side panel assistant in the end application, what data sources do you have access to? And there we go. The agent responds to it. I have access to a comprehensive supply chain database, talking about all of the ontology objects it has available, manufacturers, parts, airports, warehouses. So I think we're ready to now deploy this application so that my analysts can actually use it. C3 Code offers a one-click deployment option. I can go ahead and deploy this. It will generate a production-grade artifact deployed in a horizontally scalable environment that is ready for use. There we go. Now that the application is deployed, I want to use it. I'm going to switch gears to be a user of this application. And here I launch into the application where I can see the different weather events, the supply chain locations overlaid on this 3D globe visualization. I have this supply chain agent in this application that I can ask questions about. And here I will go ahead and ask this agent, tell me the highest risk routes. And there we go. The agent has come back with that the Dubai-Johannesburg route is the most severe of the disruptions and is currently suspended. This route is critical to my supply chain and it needs attention. And within a matter of few hours, I went from the supply network risk template to loading data to building custom analytics and dashboards and even deploying a generative AI agent into the application. With the click of a button, this application is ready for my end users to consume. And this is the power of C3 Code. C3 Code is democratizing the way people build enterprise AI applications, and we're excited to see what you build.